All right, we move now from Tel Aviv to our nation's capital and how the U.S. is responding to Israel's apparent retaliation. Correspondent Kelly Meyer live for us there outside of the White House. So, Kelly, how is Washington reacting?
Yeah, and I was just checking because President Biden was set to leave the White House, and he did just depart here for an event in Washington, D.C. It doesn't look like he did say anything when he left. So we have yet still to hear from President Biden on Israel's attack on Iran. There really hasn't been any comment or any more to share. We heard from Secretary of State Antony Blinken, but even he said he wasn't going there, only to say that the U.S. was not involved in this. The U.S., really, the word here is deterrence and de-escalation. They don't want to see this widen. They don't want to see the U.S. being pulled into a wider conflict here. There will be questions here today in the White House press briefing set to start this afternoon of just what the U.S. knew in advance. We actually heard from Italian officials during that G7 meeting that the U.S. had a heads up from Israel ahead of this, a last-minute heads up, they say. So we didn't actually hear that from the White House. We heard it from Italy. Now, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, as we were hearing from there, basically saying that they want to make sure that they continue to get humanitarian aid into Gaza. They want to keep the focus on de-escalation and, allowing the ceasefire to happen, the hostages to come home, and bringing the conflict between Israel and Hamas to an end. We could play a little bit from Secretary Blinken here. And we'll keep an eye on
exercise restraint. That's what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, and as necessary, that's what we'll continue to do. And again, that's reflected in the statement that you'll see coming from all of the G7 countries.
And in that statement from the G7 foreign ministers meeting today saying, quote, Iran's actions mark an unacceptable step towards the destabilization of the region and a further escalation which must be avoided. In light of reports of strikes on April 19th, we urge all parties to work to prevent further escalation. The U.S. trying to handle this diplomatically. They were looking at potential sanctions, more sanctions. They already slapped some on Iran yesterday with other G7 leaders. They may potentially look at that as other ways to hold Iran accountable. Nichole.
All right, Kelly Meyer live at the White House. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.